Well, lately, it seems like all roads lead to Pennsylvania. I hear people talking about this and that happening in Pennsylvania, and our road leads to Pennsylvania today. It leads us to hearing about chicken farming. Chicken farming done in a new way that's an old way. And I really want to welcome Mike Charles. Hey, Mike, welcome to Farm to Table Talk.
Hi, Roger. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you know what? I always like to talk with a farmer, and this time I get to talk to a farmer in Pennsylvania. And your family's been farming for a long time, 6 generations of farming.
Yes, I'm the sixth generation in poultry farming here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow. What kept you there? I mean, a lot of other people just aren't able to last. And the farmers have been around for a while. They've gone on to the city and taken other jobs. And what kept you anchored in Lancaster County?
Yeah, great question. So when I was a kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian or a farmer. I both, and so I've just been something I've been really passionate about for as long as I can remember. So for me, being right here where there's such a rich community of agriculture, it's just a perfect place for me. So I'm able to work with animals every day, and be a farmer myself and work with other farmers. So I really couldn't ask for a better place to be living.
You know, when I've had a chance to get around the country, when I've gotten to that corner of Pennsylvania, one thing I appreciate when you just get out and drive almost any which way from Lancaster, you see animals. You see, obviously, you see horses. We might talk about those a little bit, but you also have, cows and sheep and pigs and chickens and so much of the country has gotten very, very specialized, and you have to drive a ways to see animal agriculture. But it's always been my impression that that's not the case in Lancaster County.
No, I would say you're exactly right. We're surrounded by kind of rolling hills of just farms in every direction. And right now, it's a lot of corn. We see animals and cornfields, because I think part of being sustainable, which is something that LaBelle Patrimoine Chicken, what we're all about, but it's not just me, it's the whole community. So we want to be good stewards of taking care of our farms, our land, our animals, our planet. And it's not just for this flock or for this year. I mean, this is for generations. So I think with that mindset, is certainly why I stayed here in Lancaster County. And I think that's why the farmers uh, really take pride in what they're doing and continue to have beautiful property and good looking crops.
That's right. You still got some red barns and you get some white fences and all of that too. And make sure that the rows along the roads are kind of mowed and all that sort of thing that looks good. But you gave me pause when you said now started getting more corn, because I think of corn that sometimes you get a little carried away. And in rather than just staying on land that's good and flat, start saying, "Gee, I want to get a little more corn in," and they start going to some land to be better off to stay with pastures. And I don't know if you see people kind of weigh in that, let's push a little bit more and go a little bit more for those hill country where and it's harder to turn around that great big equipment that comes for farming with corn anymore.
Yeah, and I think we need both. Certainly, part of our, supporting our local community is using some of the corn that's grown right across the street from where the chickens are grazing, and to we harvest it, take it to the mill, and bring it back to feed to the chickens. So yeah, we need both.
Yeah, of course you do. Now let's talk about your chicken origin. You said you've been a poultry farmer for 6 generations. Now, again, I mean, that's kind of unusual too. I mean, it wasn't unusual that farms always had some chickens along with cows and pigs in the old days. But have you just sustained that? And was there some point where you said, you know what, I think we can make this into our major enterprise and not just have chickens on the side?
The Charles family was doing different. they were going turkeys for a little while. They were even grew guinea hens at one point. I think this was in the 1920s. I have a sign. They were sold at the market you talked about, fresh turkeys and guinea hens by the Charles family at Lancaster Central Market. Um, I'm not saying that my family was extremely successful in all those areas, but they certainly have been into poultry for a long time. My grandfather and his brother used to have a really small processing facility on our family farm, where literally they would bring the birds and process them right there, and just go door to door with fresh poultry for the neighbors in the local community. And I mean that's just what we did. So I guess for me, yeah, it's not for everybody, but for me, it's something I'm passionate about.
Yeah, gosh, you even had guinea hens back then. You know, guinea hens, I didn't realize people could really eat guinea hens, but because back around where I was growing up, my grandpa had some, but it was mainly let you know when people pulled into the barnyard because the guinea hens would make such a racket more than any other fowl I've ever seen. Just warn you, the people's coming into the barnyard.
You bet, you bet. So we have evolved and we've grown since times like that to where I found and kind of where we are right now is just with heritage chickens. It seems to be something that is it's not a guinea hen, but they are really special and something that has created a real sustainable program here in Lancaster.
You know, I think of something else you mentioned. I want to get to these heritage chickens, but when you're talking about that Lancaster Central Market, what a great place! I think people listening to this, if they ought to come and see you sometime and just go to that market because it's one of those old-fashioned kind of Eastern markets that can be inside. Out here, we got a lot of farmers markets, but they're all outdoors. But that Lancaster market's it's a treat, and they've got to stop there. But I can see where raising heritage chickens could tie in with someplace like that, and it goes even broader. We're going to talk about that. That you even now today can go from not only Lancaster Market but all the way to Whole Foods and beyond. So we're going to get to that. But tell me about the heritage chickens. Was there some point in time you were just using some sort of generic average chicken and started getting attracted to trying these heritage chickens?
Well, I guess this goes back to almost 20 years ago. I was just kind of on a quest to find the most beautiful, best bird we could really find. There was some, like I said, older breeds of chickens that have been around a long time, but our birds come from the Labelle Rouge growing program, which is a popular chicken program in Europe, and we were able to find a couple different strains of birds that are used in that program and start growing them here. Yeah, we were just after really having a really beautiful, healthy bird, and it's just uh, grown into more than I ever dreamed.
Well, describe these birds. How big are
So,
they? What color are they, and that sort of thing.
all right, so the birds don't get huge. They're not a big roaster like some commercial breeds may be. So this is a slow growing breed. It takes almost twice as long to get to market as more traditional breeds, and it's red with shiny black tail feathers and really golden feet, and it's a pretty bird. Part of that bird, just the breed itself. So it wants to run, it wants to jump, it wants to scratch. My grandmother used to tell me, she said, "Mike, this is how chickens used to taste." And so with the beautiful bird, we've again stumbled onto something that has really great texture and flavor. Just a totally different eating experience. And I can't sit here and say it was like I want to do that. I didn't really want to do that. I just wanted to produce the best chickens, and the taste came with it.
Now, did these chickens start off in Europe and France, or?
The strains could be traced back to that. We have the breeding stock here in Pennsylvania now, and but that was the original. Yeah, well, we were able to just through some family connections get some eggs here in Pennsylvania, and here they stay. Here they stay. We always just try to do what's right for the bird, the plant, and the farmers, and this is just a result of it.
Yeah, you know what? In a couple ways, you're different from where the trend's been. I mean, already, when you talk about being in agriculture as long as you have, but getting into birds the way you are, but the other thing that is different from typical modern agriculture is that you see a benefit for them being slow growing. And you know, I think in most other breeds, it's let's hurry it along. Let's get these critters, you know, off the farm as quick as we can. And that's a unique attitude right there, Mike.
So that's one thing that I love about what we're doing is that we try to just think outside the box. So let's just say maybe we have farmers that don't have electricity because of some beliefs they have. But you know what? If we can have solar power there, we can have really, well, just natural light, and we can have a really good, healthy chicken coming out the door. Why not? It might not be the most modern facility or things, but you know, if we can really take good care of our birds, and take good care of the planet at the same time, it's awesome. I love doing things outside the box, and
Well,
yeah,
you have to. I mean, you've touched on something there that got my attention because there are more people around Lancaster that electricity is not commonly used, and and so you have to think outside the box. And I wouldn't even have thought myself about how solar could play a role in that.
yeah. And so it's kind of like when we sit down and work with a farm. First of all, farmers are not numbers; they're people, as you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so and all the circumstances are different. We have some chicken houses that are big and some are small and some have been here a long time, some are new. So we just want to, some have electricity, some maybe not. So we just want to sit down and say, okay, let's roll up our sleeves. We sit down at the table together and we say, how can we make this work? How, and you know, if the farmers really have the same passion, you can tell pretty quickly. If, you know, Roger, you've been
Yeah.
around it a long time, so you can really tell if somebody has that drive and passion. And if they do, it's kind of a win-win. We'll work with what the farmer has.
Well, the first thing, you have to be the farmer yourself. I'll get back to before we talk about the farmers you're working with. You got to put an enterprise together that I suppose saying, well, this works for us. I mean, we can use this breed, we can use them in the pasture, we can use this whole approach with them. And then you must have started selling them, whether it's directly at the Lancaster market or somewhere else. Um, tell me about those stages of kind of getting yourself up and running and saying, you know, by golly, this is a business.
Yeah, so you know, we really just started very small, very small. Just our farm and a few others, and ideally it would say, okay, we have a really unique breed. This bird is absolutely special and different. Now let's try to find a few small markets, you know, to where these birds can, people who also appreciate the uniqueness of these birds. So, you know, kind of a cool story. There was right next to actually Central Market, there was a restaurant here in Lancaster that did a taste test of 7 different breeds of chickens, and it was on the day they were closed. It was just for a fun thing to do, and they kind of had this taste test competition. And here our breed, I grew all 7 breeds for the restaurant, and our bird won this competition. And a few weeks later, it just started gaining some momentum. People reached out to me and said, "Hey, you really have a great chicken." And one of those people was Whole Foods. What a great partner they've been, you know, helping me every step of the way, small steps, every step of the way. But so we're now in over 250 Whole Foods stores.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been.
now, had you invited them to come and check this restaurant out, or how did they find out that you were doing this?
So they had, I guess, just word of mouth. So they knew somebody who was at that restaurant, and no, I got a random phone call one day, and I thought, oh my, um, this is this is exciting, but also a little scary for just a farm boy from Pennsylvania. And but I have to say, from day one, they've been an awesome partner. I mean, absolutely awesome. Like we came out, we toured some farms together. They saw the birds in their natural environment, and that's kind of when LaBelle Patrimoine as itself as a brand was born. Before that, we were just selling birds to other, you know, smaller scale people who really appreciated the difference of the breed.
Now, before Whole Foods, though, were you processing them yourself at the farm, or did you have a locker plant you could go to? How'd that work?
Yeah, so it's a great question. My family, the family farm, we stopped doing that in 2003. So no, we were working with a really small um, hand artesian style processor in the Catskill Mountain area of New York, and they were just doing some restaurants and helping to supply fresh poultry, and they've been a great partner as well. It's just been partners, everybody that's passionate about what they do. And if we're all working towards one goal, it can be dynamic.
Now, in the early days, were you loading up a truckload a week or something like that to take to them?
Not even, not even that. Yeah, just a few thousand birds a week, maybe. And we've grown over 10-fold. And so, I mean, we've been able to say, this is scalable. Like we would say, oh my, you grew 10 times over. How do you continue to be scalable and still do the right thing?
Yeah.
Well, we really just have to keep repeating what we were doing. So we have a waiting list of farmers who want to grow these birds for LaBelle Patrimoine. So because it's good, right? So if we just keep operating with integrity and treating people and the planet and our birds correctly, I think the sky's the limit.
Well, let's before you start getting other farmers involved, though, you had to have a system down. So let's describe what that's like. I mean, you described the breeds, and they're out in pastures, but are they in sheds? They get in at night. What do you feed them? What do they eat? That sort of thing.
Yeah, no, great question. So no, we do have a stationary barn that the chickens can go inside, outside, and freely. So our birds are certified by the Global Animal Partnership Level 4. They also meet the Better Chicken Project standards and the Better Chicken Commitment standards. And basically, so we just say, hey, our chickens, I say, are kind of like people. Sometimes we want to go outside, sometimes we want to be inside. It's depending on the climate and environment. So in the house, they do have food and water, which is just locally sourced grain and of course, fresh water. Outside, they have whatever's growing in the pasture on that day, that time of year. It's lots of green growth, and I mean they're picking and eating at bugs and eating it down. So then in between flocks, we truly, something that's important to us is being regenerative as a buzzword, but for us, it's just kind of a way of life. We just want to, do everything we can to regrow our pastures and have them ready again for the next flock.
Now, what about grains? Is it mostly corn or what else?
Yeah, it is mostly corns. We do use some local soybeans from time, but it is mostly corn. Again, because that's what's here locally. I shared earlier about the cornfields.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so it makes sense to work with the same. Sometimes it's the same farmers. Just to harvest their grain and bring it back.
Yeah,
uh,
Well, now when you're at this stage now, they go, "Oh my gosh, we got a tiger by the tail here. We got Whole Foods, and you got to get other people helping you grow." So is that when you start reaching out to other farmers and see if they can grow chickens for you?
Really, at this point, farmers are calling us. Hey, Mike, I heard what you're doing. Can we be part of it? Can we grow these birds for you? And that's pretty neat. We just have guys we do have a waiting list of growers that want to grow these birds. This is something that people want to be part of.
Now, do they actually do you put your birds on their place, or do they own the birds and sell them to you?
I believe that they're already taking enough of a risk, right? They have the farm, they have um, they're coming to grow chickens for small little LaBelle Patrimoine, and so we say, hey, we take the financial risk. We supply the birds the very day they hatch. They're hatched right here in Lancaster County, so they hatch. Within an hour they're at the farm where they spend their entire life, and I do pay for I supply all the feed. I supply everything, even the heat, everything, all the way through, because I don't want them to have to worry about the financial side. Just focus on really taking great care of the birds, and it's going to work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one thing too is that, well, wait a minute. First, I want to go back there. You mentioned hatchery. So, so the hatchery is separate from your business, and the hatchery is giving you is hatching the chicks that you're able to put in your on your farm and the other farms?
Yeah, we just deliver the eggs to, again, it's a family that we've known for many, many years, and they're very good at what they do. So we have them hatch the eggs for us, and then we deliver them to our farms. And it, yeah, it key partners, just having partners that really are passionate about what they do, it seems to work.
Man, that's exciting. So you're growing, you've figured out you've got a great chicken, you got a good program, you got a good customer, you've got farmers you can work with, and you're out there making it happen. Sounds perfect. Sounds perfect. But I'm sure there's some snags. I mean, what are the challenges you face?
Yeah, I would say challenges are well, is that we are just farmers. So when we started doing this, I didn't even have a website, right? So we had to create. So some of the technologies and sales and marketing and things that we're not as familiar with would be probably the most challenging for me. And of course, as we grow, I love to be on the farm and be with chickens, but certainly now we have a whole team of people to work with. So that to me has been a great thing, but also challenging because it's things I never did before. But it's been great.
Well, the when I what I know about your area is there's a large Amish population all around Lancaster too, and Mennonite and all these people have that in themselves have a rich tradition in livestock. So do you have a pretty good mix of that community that participate with you too in the growing?
We really do. Yeah, we do have a good mix. Have great relationships with Amish Mennonite and just English we say here in Lancaster, but great relationship because I can really appreciate the heritage of their heritage.
Sure,
And
sure.
and so being in this business so long, when my dad had that little butcher shop I told you about, they would the farmers would come in, whether they were Amish or Mennonite or just local neighbors. So I really was able to develop relationships with all of them. It's been cool.
Yeah, no, that's really, really, interesting what you're doing. And now, I guess the other thing I think about is that with Amish in particular, not having typically electricity gets back to something you alluded to earlier. I mean, your kind of production system doesn't require quite all of the what ordinary modern technology, although one could say solar is modern technology, but it's not in a way. You're harvesting the sun. But that's the other thing that kind of strikes me because if you look at large scale agriculture and certain chicken farms are in that, I mean, they are extremely automated. They got electronic augers and they've got all sorts of other equipment and inside sheds. So your system seems to be especially applicable to every level of technology or lack of technology, really.
Yeah. I mean, we we can use so we're really into natural light. I mean, we have, to me, we have natural the sun is coming up every day. I mean, let's use it. Let's let our birds soak in some of those rays. And so we like to have natural light. We for instance, I'm, I'm okay with dirt floors. But you know why? Because the chickens are on dirt outside. So, and we have dirt inside, and I think that's okay. Um, so to me, yeah, as long as now we do need to have ways to feed the birds and take proper care of them and ventilate properly and things like that. So we do need to make sure that the farmer has the tools in place to really take good care of his flock. But with that said, um, it does seem to work. And again, outside the box, hey, we can run run this poultry house with solar and provide everything we need.
Yeah, yeah. I want to be a chicken farmer for you. You ready to open up in Sacramento?
Not quite yet. Not
Um,
quite yet.
I think
Anytime.
I think my neighborhood only allows 6 chickens, so it'll be a while before I can make it a profitable enterprise, I'm afraid.
Yeah, if you want, if you move to Pennsylvania, though, look me up, Roger, because we'll work with
Yep, I may head there. I may head there because again, I think at finding agriculture in Pennsylvania still have so much, like I say, really great livestock heritage, and you're making it work. And my hat's off to you.
Well, thank you very much.
And now I want to get back to the on the market side. So you've got Whole Foods, and you're supplying them, and they're growing like crazy. Are you primarily with them, or are you able to expand to other markets as well now?
Yeah, we are able to expand into some other smaller markets. Whole Foods is still, I would say, our flagship, and they've been really great to work with. But yeah, we are supplying some other smaller, more local markets, and that's really cool too. Just to, I don't know, it's just cool to be part of and to see some others people really getting passionate about what we're doing.
Now, what about restaurants? Are you able to go to them?
We are supplying a few restaurants. It's it's been a little bit slower than what I anticipated, but this chicken's not just for any restaurant. You know, this is a really special bird, and so it is more the white tablecloth restaurants that get more excited about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're in restaurants locally, a lot of Philadelphia restaurants.
Now, I would expect that your chicken would be a little higher priced than their normal kind of commodity chicken that you might find in supermarkets usually.
Sure. Yeah, no, our bird, the price point typically comes in right in between a traditional organic chicken and a traditional antibiotic-free chicken. So the price point is right in between. That again wasn't part of our strategy. That's just where it landed. And it seems to be acceptable to most people. And I think when people try it and they realize that, wow, this truly is different and this does taste like chickens used to taste, I think they appreciate that and understand that this has been sustainable every step of the way. And that's part of why the price is where it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's so many things to learn too about, I'm back at the genetics in the first 5 minutes you were talking about did chickens run around more than other chicken breeds. And I thought, I wonder how much that contributes, to the muscling and in the development of the bird, that they just have that kind of an attitude, and whether that translates somehow into the flavor of the bird too.
You know, I would think that makes a huge difference. I mean, just because these birds really do have something that's unique about our LaBelle Patrimoine birds, they don't have as much breast meat. They have more leg meat, longer legs, and less breast meat. And yeah, because the bird's older and the muscles are different, they're stronger. I think that really does change the entire eating experience.
I bet there's people listening here that think, man, I really, really like what Mike's done. And I wonder if we can do that. I wonder if we can do it in California, or Iowa or South Dakota or wherever. You have people get a hold of you and say, I like what you've done. I wonder how we can become like you.
Tell you what, not yet, but I'm open. I'm open to phone calls.
Okay. Well, they might. I think this is a good time for us to point that out. Let's go back over the name of the company again, and your brand, and where people can look to get more information. And if they want to say they want to grow up to be Mike when they grow up, they can reach out to you. So, what's your website?
So we have labellepatrimony.com is our website, and yeah, they'll be able to learn more about what we're doing. There's a few videos and things on there, and certainly they could send an email to me through there.
Mike, you're going to have to spell that out for people. In fact,
So
you said it, you
Labelle
said that, sure
Patrimony.
that, yeah. I mean, we're not used to the name yet, so spell the company out.
So Labelle, Labelle, and then there's a dash, Patrimony, Patrimone, labellepatrimony.com.
M-O,
And what that means,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rodney.
Well, no, when I get done with this, I think I'm going to run up to Whole Foods. You think I can find any of your chicken at the Whole Foods here in California?
Not yet, not yet. We would love to expand, continue to scale into other geographical areas for sure. Um, I I did want to. So what label patrimoine means? People would say, "Well, what does that mean? Why did you come up with that name?" Like even my wife said, "Mike, why in the world did you come up with that?" But the reason we did is because what label patrimoine means is the beautiful heritage, because that's what we have. So I just felt like it's the right fit because that's what the bird is. It's a beautiful heritage chicken.
Well,
So that's why I just feel.
you've got a heritage, you've got a good looking chicken, you've got good practices, and you also have got that land and that chicken grazing out there in your corner of Pennsylvania too, and all the program. It's all of it's getting transferred to us when we have a chance to enjoy that chicken. I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled for when it comes our direction. But Mike, I think in wrapping up, you seem to be really enthusiastic about what you're doing. You feel good about it, and I understand. I feel good about it. Like I say, I want to grow chickens now, and even though you're not going to let me yet here with my have 6 chickens in my backyard or anything, but I can get enthusiastic too. But when you look down the road over the next few years in front of us, is there anything in particular that makes you either optimistic or concerned about doing what you're doing? Because we've already getting some people excited to think they want to be like you when they grow up. So when you look at this next stage, these next few years, what either makes you feel good or what gives you pause that are challenging?
Great question, Roger. Yeah, I would say is one thing that's really important to us and that we've seen a challenge on is whole bird utilization. So in the just seems to be in the United States, people prefer more breast meat over leg meat or whatever. But we need to use the entire chicken, and because that's the right thing to do. I mean, we owe that back to the bird, the farmers, and the planet, right? It's just part of being sustainable. So as we grow, we need to always keep whole bird utilization in mind. So we're now producing a ground chicken product. And we're even looking at chicken sticks and different things we can do to utilize all the bird. It's not, we just are committed to using the whole bird. So we have to be careful and committed to, as we grow, that we don't stray from that we continue to use all of the chicken that's produced. I think that's really important.
That's great. Now, then one related question is that a lot of what you're doing is fresh. Is there opportunity for growth on the frozen side as well?
Yeah, there is. We've had quite a few inquiries on frozen, and we do have the ability to do that. So I didn't. So it's pretty cool. The small processing facility we work with that is in the Catskill Mountains, they're actually air chilled, which is quite special as well. So the birds are just chilled by air. They don't get submerged in any water or anything like that. So they also have the ability to freeze for us if we would need to. I believe the bird's best fresh, but yeah, we do have the ability to freeze.
Yeah. Well, it's an exciting frontier, and I'm glad to hear what you're doing and that customers are able to find it, and you're getting other farmers that are figuring out that they can raise chickens this way. And Mike, I really want to thank you for taking this time to share this story with us on Farm to Table Talk.
Well, nah, and thank you, Roger. I really appreciate it. I'm just one piece of the puzzle here in Pennsylvania, but I appreciate the time.